I think that Montas last night probably took a huge amount of pressure off of himself, too. That was his best outing as a Yankee in Yankee Stadium. You beat the Mets.
Yeah.
Fans are going to kind of give you a little bit of slack. Now maybe you go out west and you pitch well against your former team in your old ballpark. Some of the new guys, obviously, not available right now, Bader and Efros, but the other guys are all playing pretty well. I thought Trevino has looked good the last couple of days. Or Trevino, I get that messed up every time.
I mean, Trevino's multi-inning save the other night was massive. I mean,
huge.
Yeah, and he had underlying peripherals that were really good, and his traditional numbers looked pretty crappy when he came over. But then we sort of dove into the numbers. I know his ground ball rate was really good, and so you had to figure Blake would get his paws on him and start to improve that, and like maybe we're seeing that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see what changes Matt Blake makes right away to guys. We've seen that Montas is throwing the fastball more. We've seen other guys adopt the changeup really quickly. Clay Holmes pretty much stopped throwing anything but the sinker when they got him. Trevino, it looks like they're getting him to use his slider more. And, I'm just liking the way that he's kind of getting more confident out there each and every time. Now, Efros obviously out for a little bit, but I've liked what I've seen from him too. He's around the plate and he throws a lot of innings. So, a reliable reliever would be, huge addition.
And he was getting high leverage spots. Now everyone's getting high leverage spots at this point because the bullpen has been dealing with injuries and inconsistencies. And it's basically, we were joking before we started recording. It's like, are you available to pitch tonight? Great. You might close tonight. So get ready, kid. Like we saw them try and get the 3-out game finish. It wouldn't have been a save for Schmidt last night because he came in a tight game. But in essence, he was trying to save the game there. Couldn't quite finish it. Went to Peralta, but it's almost like next man up mentality in the bullpen right now. I mean, is that good or is that bad? I don't know. I've always said if you don't have a closer, if you have closer by committee, then you have no closer.
Right. Right now, I don't think it's a huge issue. Like we said, schedule's lightening up. You should be able to win these next 7 games on offense alone. Just if you start to swing the bats a little better, get some decent outings out of your starter, you kind of let guys fill their roles. But if you get down to the playoffs and you haven't gotten this settled, that's an issue. I think Aroldis Chapman has been a huge issue. You can't trust him in a close game right now.
He had a brief stint where I was like, oh, that looks like the Chapman that we used to know, but it's way too inconsistent.
Yeah, his mechanics are so max effort, right, that I think it can be difficult to repeat them night in and night out. Whereas you look at somebody like Mike King, for instance, who was leading the American League in FWAR when he went on the IL. Just a very simple, no wind-up, just from the stretch, simple, kind of throws slightly across his body, but everything's very repeatable. Whereas Aroldis has this humongous arm swing, this enormous stride. His stride is longer, I think, than any pitcher in baseball still.
Well, his legs are 9 feet long. So.
Right. He's got these enormous, I don't know if you've ever seen his hands up close. I mean, if you shook your hand, they'd wrap around your hand like 3 times. This guy has enormous hands, enormous fingers. There's so many factors, and he throws so hard with such a high spin rate that, a lot of things have to go right. My old coaches used to say, the more moving parts, the more chance there is for something to go wrong. So, I like guys who kind of keep it simple.